I want to, first of all, just take the opportunity to acknowledge the birthday of our head of our armed forces, Her Majesty the Queen. I know when I put on the Ulster Defence Regiment uniform in Operation Banner, it was done so to serve Queen and country, and I still, along with others in this House, still honour the head today. Our thoughts and prayers remain with Her Majesty and our royal family on this very, very difficult milestone today. This issue is difficult and complex. The obligation to fulfil our duty under Article 2 of the ECHR is a vital obligation, and in much of the chatter that I've heard, there seems to be confusion between a legal investigation following appropriate procedures and an investigation that gives what the family feels to be the right result or justice. This bill is not designed to be the answer to every death involving a member of the armed forces. It is designed to ensure that the killing was unlawful, it is still able to be prosecuted, and yet at the same time protects against the sustained, erroneous and vexatious prosecution of service personnel, such as those who served in Iraq or Afghanistan or in Northern Ireland. As DUP spokesperson for human rights, I welcome government changes to the provisions regarding torture as suggested in the Lord Amendments 1 in clauses 6 and 7. The acceptance of government in their own proposals is welcome, as is clarification as to why war crimes have continued to be exempted, and I look to the Minister for some clarity at the end. I also have further questions on Lord's Amendment 4 regarding the ability for service personnel to make a claim against government. I have been struck by the British Legion's reasoning within the briefing sent to me. The Shadow Minister mentioned it, and many others did as well. We are all aware that amendments to Clause 13, restrictions and time limits, actions brought against a crime by service personnel. The new clause amends Part 2 of the bill, so that it explicitly excludes actions brought against a crime by serving or former service personnel from the limitations on court's discretion that the part imposes in respect of actions relating to overseas operations. It therefore potentially could go some way to addressing the issues raised by the Royal British Legion, other external experts and members of both houses in relation to the impact of Part 2 of the bill. Again, I will seek clarity on this. My next point will be of no surprise to anyone in this chamber. That is the point of equivalence for service personnel. For those who serve, who currently serve, or who have served in the past, we have, as is the title of new Clause 5, a duty of care to service personnel. My honourable colleagues and friends for East Belfast and for Upper Bann both mentioned this, and I will as well, because it's really important for us who have served in the armed forces, but those who represent Northern Ireland in particular. So simple and yet so effective, and unfortunately patently untrue. There is a duty of care to service personnel, unless of course you were called to serve in Northern Ireland. At this stage I wish to personally thank the Minister for Veterans, the former Minister for Veterans, the Honourable Member for Plymouth Moorview, for his actions and honourable actions, for his passion and indeed his commitment in the job that he had, and also, can I say, Mr Deputy Speaker, for the help that he gives some of my constituents personally. And I wouldn't want to embarrass him by saying that here in the chamber, but I can tell you something. He really did reach out to some of my constituents in a very, very personal way, and I really appreciate it. I want to put it on record to say that. So we sit today not with parallel legislation that we're working through the Council, but nothing for those brave personnel who served in Northern Ireland. Now, I asked the Minister earlier on in relation to the legislation and protection for Northern Ireland. I don't want to embarrass the Minister in particular, but I'm going to tell you what's on the source, just as I was sitting here before I was called. And it's from Tracy McGee, and she says, Northern Ireland source tells her there are no plans to bring forward legislation in the Queen's speech and Northern Ireland veterans at this stage. If that is the case, and I appreciate, to be fair to the new Minister in his place, who I respect greatly and have an affection for, that if that's the case, then we really have to address this issue. So that then we ask, if it's not in the Queen's speech, then when will it be? And I think, Minister, I'm going to, if you don't mind, hold your feet to the fire in this one, and say that we really need to have a commitment, a legislative time, a time scale to what's going on. I have no doubt whatsoever, Mr Deputy Speaker, that the Minister is committed to this. But we need to have government in the Northern Ireland office, and we need to see it in the Queen's speech, and we need to be reassured. So if there's a legislative programme, then we need to be confirmed today and where it is. That's just breaking news in the last few minutes. No matter how the Republican agenda seeks to rewrite history to make it appear there is no difference between a terrorist whose every action is a crime and causing loss of life, can only, in that case of a terrorist, be murder, and not of a serving member of the armed forces who may cause loss of life whilst legally carrying out duties are the same. Let me tell you quite clearly, they are not the same, and legislation needs to be in place to ensure that's not the case. There is much within the bill that is right and proper, but I find it harder and harder to understand and support those who persist in belittling and shushing the Unionist people of Northern Ireland, and the passing of this bill will not be complete, will not have its full assurance and confidence for everyone in this great United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, unless within this legislation those who served in Northern Ireland have the very same rights. Every soldier who served, every family who grieved, and across this great United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, every MP, no doubt, has in their constituency families of those who served and who died as a result of their service in Northern Ireland. So for them, for the MPs in Northern Ireland, for my party, we want to be assured, and the people of the province want to be assured, that legislative change will come in this House and from this government, and it will be forthcoming soonest, and we want to hear about it right away. Mr Deputy Speaker, thank you so much.